All right, man. You gotta tell me about the watch.
Tell you about the watch?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a Seiko, which is...
It's a Seiko.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll tell you how I got down this rabbit hole. So there's a long story about time capsules. So when you're thinking about like preserving culture, right? Who preserves culture the best, right? Like, so cultural institutions, right? Obviously, historians, people go to museums, right? We try to preserve culture in all kinds of different ways.
Right.
But it turns out that time capsules like try to preserve culture in a way that you like bury it in the ground and they have zero context, right? So they're supposed to stay down there for hundreds, some of them thousands of years. And there's 3 time capsules in particular that I've done research on that are the greatest feats of all of humankind that really thought very deeply about preserving human culture for up to 5,000 years. 2 of which were buried in New York at the World's Fair by Westinghouse in 1938 and 1968, respectively.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And these, obviously the big consumer brand, light bulbs, power, and all the rest. But one that I think is an incredible feat of human ingenuity is buried in Osaka, Japan, by what was called the Matsushita Electric Company, which is now known as Panasonic.
Okay, yeah.
And Panasonic commissioned a council over 2 years from 1968 to 1970 in preparation for the World Expo in 1970. And they put together this massive council of experts from all over the world, and they said, we're going to find the pinnacle of engineering in every facet of engineering and society. So
it doesn't have to be Japanese.
It doesn't have to be Japanese, right? But they went through and they said, we're going to have submissions and we're going to go through every area of consumer goods, right? We're going to look at every single piece of engineering. And there's wild stuff in this time capsule. There's prosthetic hearts and there's things you might expect. There's shoes, and there's also you see emergent chemical engineering polyester and
think of that.
Right, PVC and things like that. But what really stood out to me was this particular watch and this watch. And this watch to them was the pinnacle of engineering at the time. And this watch was engineered by Seiko, and it was like a turning point in this in-house movement that they created. And it's the 5626 King Seiko high beat.
Yeah.
And but nobody knew exactly which specific model it was until ChatGPT Deep Research came out.
No way.
Yeah, and it took...
So, you say you didn't know which model.
Right.
Why? Was it a PDF file? What
right.
So
the greatest enemy of a time capsule is erosion and the elements, right?
Okay, yeah.
But the second greatest enemy of a time capsule is curiosity, because people freaking love to dig up a time capsule, right? So if a time capsule at Osaka is supposed to be in the ground for 5,000 years, right, they want to make sure this thing never gets dug up. So the first thing that they do is they're going to make a replica of it. Okay. So they make a replica of the time capsule, and it's still there on display today in this memorial garden. Okay. The second thing they do is they make massive amounts of media about it. So they publish books, and they have a website about it. And I have this book that I sourced from Japan, and the book is thick too. It's
so you source it specifically for the time capsule.
Yeah, and the book is the official record of the time capsule, and it has
this thick.
It's huge, beautiful print too. I can't read half of it. It's all in Japanese.
But it's beautiful.
But it's gorgeous, and it's Printbound will show it to you. It's amazing. I'll bring it to Visions, where I'm going to talk about all of this in New York, and they have the names of the council and everybody who was part of the selection process, and the only picture that exists of there's one picture of pretty much every item there, and then they do this beautiful overview flat lay of every item that goes into the capsule, and of course they're Japanese, so it's meticulously organized of perfectly cataloged every item that goes into it and what compartment it went in the capsule, cross section, the whole thing. But there's one picture of this watch, the men's watch and the women's watch, and it is not the model number, it is it was cataloged as its technical specifications. 25 jewels, right? Men's watch, and the retail price at the time, like 900,000 yen, which would have been about $1,200 US at the time, which in 1968, at the time of the selection, is like a very high-end watch.
Right.
King Seiko, which would be the equivalent of like a Grand Seiko today,
Okay.
Which goes for, I think, $6,500–7,000 today,
Yeah.
which is like fairly high-end watch.
Yeah.
But not real. They didn't choose Rolex. They chose a watch, according to them, that would be able to withstand 5,000 years in a time capsule. They chose a watch that would still work 5,000 years from now, that would come out of the time capsule and still be able to work. A mechanical watch, not a digital watch, not something that would be able to be wound and work. And the other things that they did was they wanted it to, they had to reverse engineer, like there would be no context for the future. Like they wouldn't understand our language. They wouldn't understand our alphabet. They had to create a Rosetta Stone. Like the only thing that would be constant from then to now is time, right? So this watch is probably the most important thing that went in there, and this is the watch that they chose. And it took years to find this watch.
So don't forget to wind your watch.
Yeah, and it's an automatic too, so I don't have to forget. But there you go.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I think it's great, and it took a long time to find on eBay. That's the one. Yeah, it's still working. It's beautiful.